Welcome to The Bank is Open, presented by Pickett Sports, presented by Props.Cash, breaking down the night in the NBA. We got 3 games. We'll talk about all these games, some props, maybe get into some futures, some awards as those markets have started to heat up. As usual, the usual cast of characters. It is NicLarson, Brian versus the Books. What's going on, guys?
Going
This
on,
is gonna
Will?
be it's gonna be a great show. It's gonna be I don't know if you know this, Will, below. It's gonna be a head-to-head matchup between Nick and me against the MVP of Anthony Davis tonight. That's gonna be a
I don't know if you've tuned in, but the Anthony Davis MVP tour has officially started.
Wow, so it's
it's
Brian versus Nick head to head. I would make that a pick 'em, but Brian's got his glasses on, or at least he
yeah,
did. That
I did.
changed the line. Oh, now he's back to
Yeah.
like a minus
Did you
135 favorite.
did you know that people that wear glasses are more likely to be believed by 73% over somebody else that does not wear glasses?
Did
I
you
actually
know
didn't know that.
also if you wear wired earbuds in 2022, it brings the odds away from your favor?
Oh, he's got glasses now too.
I
But I
can't
want
wait.
to I want to point out that glasses stat is fake, but most people believe it because I'm wearing glasses when I say it. So that's just how that works.
Even though you told me it's real, I still believe it just because the
Yeah.
glasses are so convincing.
Also, Eli, I do wear the wired headbuds only because it helps me focus. I have ADHD, and I'm on these shows. I can't be looking at anywhere else.
Let's get to the game first because there's a lot of different ways we can go with the Lakers in terms of trade possibilities. Anthony Davis, which we gave out, I think 60, 70 to 1 to win the MVP the first night of the season, has played just at an incredible level. So we'll get into that. But first, Lakers are in Cleveland. LeBron back in Cleveland. The Lakers are 10 and 12 straight up, 10 and 12 against the spread. The Cavs are 15 and 9 straight up, 15 and 9 against the spread. So kind of interesting there. Both teams straight up and against the spread record are the same. Cavs laying 5.5 against a Laker team that's played really well. This is a step up in competition. Brian, start us off here. Cavs, Lakers, what do you like?
So we'll give a chance for Nick here to contradict, but I think it's a tough matchup for the Lakers. I think it's a tough matchup for Anthony Davis. I think we've talked about it before, we've covered it, but scheduling does matter in the NBA, and the Lakers are on the third game of a 4-game road trip, and they have a game tomorrow in Toronto. And this is just a game where I wouldn't be surprised if the Cavs, I mean, the spread's 5.5 and open at 4. So money is coming in on the Cavs, and I do lean them in this game. But I just think they match up so well for a team that is on the last few legs of a road trip.
Yeah, I think that it will be a tough matchup with. I'm assuming they'll put Mobley on Davis to start, would be my guess, who is a definitely plus defender. I just think with LeBron, Cleveland, I think they're gonna go. I think they go for this game and then maybe tank the Toronto game.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see LeBron and AD get that rest tomorrow.
Right, right.
I mean, it happens
So
too often now where you see people just back to back, John Morant 2 nights ago. I loved his under against the Heat, and then all of a sudden his ankle hurt, and it's like, all right, it just put it rest. I mean, it's a back to back. He played a lot of minutes the day before. Teams are just totally okay doing that now, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see the Raptors game kind of being one of those where the Lakers punt it.
right.
The Davis numbers have been absolutely absurd. Before we get into like the betting aspect of this, Nick, I guess you can start. Why has he played so much better? What's the difference from what you've seen? Like, where is this coming from? We all knew it was in there, but what's been the difference?
I just think he's been more assertive. I mean, like we said at the beginning of the year, this if the Lakers are going to do anything, it's got to be Davis's team. And I think he's kind of when LeBron went out for that little spell here recently, he kind of just grabbed it and ran with it. And I mean, LeBron's smart enough basketball player. He can fill whatever role he needs to fill. He can still score, facilitate, rebound, whatever he needs to do. But it's got to be Davis. It's got to be the main guy on that team. And I think he's just done a better job asserting himself offensively. And then he's been playing well defensively too. His blocks numbers are up. His rebounds numbers are up. So yeah, I just think being more assertive has been his main thing.
So let me tell you, Nick's full of shit. No, I'm kidding. I actually do have the Anthony Davis ticket from what we talked about earlier this year. He can have the best season ever. I'm just hoping tonight we don't see that. But yeah, the Lakers overall have looked good ever since they blew that horrendous, what was it, 18-point fourth
Oh
quarter
yeah,
lead
fourth quarter against
last week.
Indy.
Yeah, yeah. Ever since that, they have kind of rebounded a little bit. I do think this is a good game. I do like the fact that we have a 3-game slate and it's really like a smaller slate, but there's 2 games you can circle on your list and watch, because this game and the late game should be really fun to watch.
Hey, I'm willing to compromise with you. There is a way that both of our bets do hit, so I mean it's possible.
Yeah. So if I'm allowed to, I do want to talk about my fade of Anthony Davis today, which is been kind of fun because ever since I tweeted it, I've been getting these fun things saying like take the over, it's a lock. So it's gonna be an interesting one. But I am taking Anthony Davis under 27.5 points, and I'm taking his under of 38.9.5 points / rebounds. I actually split up my plays only because I couldn't figure out which one I like better. And I can live with this if I split. But if I would have picked the wrong one, I would have been really upset. As you all know, Anthony Davis dropped, was it 55 last game, and 44 the night before. But he's just playing some heavy minutes on this road trip. And like you said, they might punt tomorrow, but with the game in a back-to-back, I just think if the Cavs go on any sort of run near the end of the game or anything goes wrong, there's a potential you just see him rest, because he is a guy that usually will rest early. But at the same time, I don't know if you saw that Jared Allen is on. He went from being out to upgrade to questionable today. He participated fully in the shoot around. I just think we've talked about before, if you're out for like a week or two and then you randomly get upgraded and just go to the shoot around, there's usually a reason for it. So I feel like he's playing. And if he's playing, I mean, the interior of Jared Allen and Evan Mobley is just such a tough matchup for anybody. And then you add in the fact that LeBron usually circles these games, maybe takes extra field goals, whatever it be. I just think it's like a really high line for a guy that, like, Anthony, as good as Anthony Davis has been, he can come out today and drop 26-12. And that's not a bad game in any means, but it would still win me some money, which is kind of the goal here.
Kind of the goal. Absolutely.
Yeah.
With Davis playing so well now, Nick, I guess you could start. What does this do for the Lakers in terms of the trades? We've heard about the 2 first-round picks, the Buddy Hield possible trade with Turner, now the Bulls trade. How do you think this ultimately plays out? Does this convince them to make a move and try to? Boy, it still seems like a stretch that this team could to make win a championship, make a finals. But does this make them more aggressive here as we head towards the winter?
Yeah, I think for sure they're going to have to be more aggressive now. I mean, just in the last 2 weeks, they've jumped probably 3-4 spots from where they started in the cellar there. But I just don't know what the trade partner and what, I mean, is it going to be Westbrook? Is it just going to be just the picks? Is it going to be, I mean, I don't know who, is it going to be Pat Beverly and picks? Is it going to be?
They don't have much. I mean, it would be basically a team that would just want the picks. I guess you could use Westbrook for the salary, although Westbrook's played pretty well, but it's not really the point where like Westbrook keeps them from making a deal. But like you said, I just don't know who puts them over the top. I mean, who really moves the needle for them? DeRozan would help. Levine,
I feel like they need a shooter.
They need a couple of shooters for sure.
I know that's a tough thing to fill there.
It's also interesting with all the Russell Westbrook stuff, because from a player's standpoint, you've heard LeBron and AD and some of these guys defend Russ, and then like I know like from a team standpoint, the contract's so bad there, but from like a player standpoint, it's hard to kind of if you trade Russ, what's he gonna say to some of the team? I don't know. It's such a weird and messy situation in LA that. Yeah, I guess you see how they ride this hot streak for a few weeks, and trade deadline still plenty far away.
Yeah,
I think he's taken to his coming off the bench role pretty well, just because I think it's starting to set in. Reality's starting to set in. Like, all right, I'm not the guy that won the MVP 5 years ago. Like, they're gonna bench me if nobody else really wants me in trades. Like, it's either this or nothing. It's either this or I don't know. It's extreme to think he could be out of the league, but I think this is really kind of opened his eyes to what he is on this team. So it's interesting. Davis 24-1 now to win the MVP. You probably missed the best numbers. I'll ask you guys if that's too short to jump in now. And yeah, I guess we'll start with that. Nick, is that too short? Did you miss the boat at 24-1, or is that worth a sprinkle still?
I mean, I probably wouldn't sprinkle on it right now. I mean, he's about as hot as you can be right now. If he cools off a little, or they lose a couple games and it drops again, maybe you jump in. But this is like buying at the peak, I think, right here.
Yeah, it's hard to justify taking an MVP after they dropped 99 points in a 2-game span.
Right.
You just wait until he goes way under tonight, as that smart guy with the glasses talked about, and then you bounce in after his 12-point game tonight. That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Hey, we'll jump on that. So he'll have 12 points and
10 rebounds.
10 rebounds, and the Lakers win. And then my Davis double Lakers win, 225 hits. The thing that scares me tonight actually is, I don't know why, but I feel like Donovan Mitchell could have a massive game.
Donovan Mitchell could have
6 or 7 threes and 38 points or something crazy like that.
And
he's like, no, what are you gonna say? Sorry.
No, I was just saying, when you're betting Davis
actually.
props, when you're betting Davis props, I mean, I don't want to put this out there in the universe, but we've seen him plenty of times fall down, head to the tunnel, not return to the game. And hey, if he starts, those are winners. That's what happens when you bet under. So that's just, it is a caution.
I'm glad you said that.
For injuries now.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I didn't really write that into my write-up or my cap, but that's obviously part of it, especially a guy that has his injury history and he's coming off playing 40 minutes a game in the last 2 games, like, and a back-to-back as well tomorrow. Like, there's just so many routes to this under, and the biggest thing with the Davis props or any props is that, like, the Cavs play so slow. I mean, they limit so many possessions. Like, they play at a snail's pace. The Lakers over-under right now, a team total, I think it's 109.5. So if you think about the game against Milwaukee, he put up 44 points, but the team also scored 133. Or do we think the Lakers are scoring 130 tonight? I mean, that's a tougher ask against this matchup.
How about future prices for either team? The Lakers down to 60-1 to win the title here at FanDuel. The Cavs at 19-1. Either of those interest you whatsoever?
I don't know about you, Nick, but I kind of buy into the Cavs a little bit. I don't know about a title. I do think the Cavs team is really good. Everyone always makes this, like, the saying, defense wins championships. If you watch them play, they rotate really well on defense. They have such a great lineup of guys that can defend. And I think Darius Garland gets the help of having Donovan Mitchell now, where as good as Darius Garland has been, I think there's some games last year where they just came up a little bit short in close games. And Donovan Mitchell is kind of that guy that has that, skill set to kind of put you over the edge to, get you that big bucket in a closer game. So I do kind of believe in the Cavs a little bit.
Worth it at 19-1 though. Just tough with Boston and Milwaukee.
Yeah,
Boston and Milwaukee are clearly the two best in the East.
Yeah, that's one where I feel like if you got in earlier before they were, 15-9 now?
Yeah.
It probably would have been worth it. But yeah, as you mentioned, so many things with these prices is that you lose the value. Okay, by the way, Jared Allen is playing tonight. Let's go. Okay. 12 points for AD. So that's big. Sorry, I had to do the breaking news because we don't know anything until we get these updates as they come, because nothing ever makes sense anymore.
Especially when we do get the updates, like in baseball. John Heyman tweeted out the Judge is headed to the Giants. Then he said,
he deleted it.
He gave, "Oh, my bad." Well, no big deal, buddy. It's only your job. Like, no big deal.
Not like anyone's waiting for that news.
Yeah, it's not like everyone. Do you know how many people probably sent that tweet to their friends?
Yes.
And then they click on it just to see it's deleted. Like, probably a billion. Like, so many people probably sent this to their friends just for their friends to be, "Oh, what is it?" It's gone.
Before we go to the next game, there is a FanDuel odds boost on this game. You guys want to hear it? It is.
Is it AD? Is AD in it?
LeBron 20 points, Mitchell 20 points, and Anthony Davis 10 rebounds, boosted from -150 to +100.
All right, Anthony Davis is playing one quarter. I'm sorry, Nick.
Wow. Now he is wishing injuries.
I'm just saying that the Lakers plus 10.5 are in the other boost, and now Davis is in the other. I don't know, man. We'll see.
Well, you guys can parlay that with Cody Bellinger going to the Cubs, because Cody Bellinger just signs with the Cubs for $17 million, which is a 1-year deal. It's interesting. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that, Nick. That's a guy, boy, that MVP seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, you want to talk about falling off. Like,
yes.
I mean, is he going to be like the new Jock Peterson going to the Cubs, and then he's going to go to the Braves?
Shop him, right.
Shop him every single deadline.
I don't know.
He seems lost right now. And he
totally
looks lost too.
Totally lost. Maybe you put him on a worse team, and you know what? You can sort of rehab. To me, it looks like he lost his swing. Like, he's just trying to hit everything out of the ballpark. Like, he really fell in love with the home run. And yeah, he looks like a mini Joey Gallo. So interesting. He goes to the Cubs. Anything else on Lakers Cavs before we move on?
No, but I did not appreciate the Joey Gallo shot there. He's my favorite player in the entire
Really?
league.
Jeez.
Only because I bet a lot of strikeout
Because he has
overs.
glasses?
And whenever I see Gallo in that starting lineup, boom. Whoever the pitcher is, you probably just take the over. You get 2 free Ks. It's great.
Yeah, we don't get the pitcher hitting anymore, but when Gallo's in there, it's
It's the same thing, honestly.
Dude, I 100% look at him in the lineup and just bank on 2 Ks right there.
We'll go to the next game, but I do want to say there was one time where I remember he was added to the lineup. Like, he was added to it, but he wasn't supposed to start. And whoever the player's strikeout total was, jumped a full strikeout like immediately. Like, all books immediately went from 4.5 to 5.5.
That's great. That's really good. Yeah. So nothing else on this game. Who do you guys like in terms of the spread? The 5.5. I don't think we discussed that part.
I mean, you have Nick riding.
I've got the Lakers winning, so I guess I'll take the 5.5.
And I'm on the other side. I think the Cavs I think the Cavs are just a better team. I think it's gonna be a matter of the better team against the hotter team, if that makes sense. I think the Cavs are a better team, but the Lakers are so hot right now that I'm not really taking a spread here, but I would lean the Cavs.
I love the way they're playing. They look like a legitimately good team over the past couple of weeks. I still just don't quite trust them. Whether it's the Indiana game, they just have their moments where I don't know. I need a little more to trust them, but I would lean towards the Lakers plus the 5.5. Detroit is in Miami, so we got Pistons, Heat. As we are, the bank is open, presented by props.cash, Pickett Sports, both must-haves for sports bettors. It is Miami laying 7. Miami is 11-13 straight up. They are 8-16 against the spread. Detroit is 6-19 straight up, but they're actually 13-12 against the spread. So they've been covering, even if they haven't been winning. Miami laying 7. Brian, you want to start us off here? Heat and the Pistons.
This is a game that I hate touching because I think I mean, the Heat are always doing that weird injury thing. I think Lowry is still questionable. He was gonna be in. Now he's in the air, but Jimmy Butler's out. I think this is another game we talk about lost value. I would have leaned Pistons at the opening at plus 11 or plus 10.5, but now you're down to 7. It's a tough one to go with either way. I feel like I still lean the Pistons just because I think they have I want to say not more depth, but they just seem to play play up to teams. And you saw the Heat, how I think last night they just play down the team sometimes, and that has me leaving the Pistons. But I just hate losing that much on the spread.
Yeah, you can put these two in 2 of my at least 5 favorite teams to watch, probably. I'm probably with you though. I'll probably take the Pistons and the points though. I don't trust the Heat. Like you said, they seem to play to their competition a lot. And we've got Lowry questionable, Hero just coming back. I don't trust the Heat, but then again, the Pistons are not that good either. So,
especially without Cade still.
Yeah, staying clear of this game. But if I had to take a side, I'd probably take the Pistons and the points.
Limited minutes for Oladipo as well.
Anything in terms of props?
I didn't take anything. I guess you could look at Hero props because he's the last man standing there. But I mean, I looked. I was leaning towards actually Ivy's under in this one, but then without Butler and potentially without Lowry, those are the 2 guys you pray for to have in this game for an under. So I don't know if I like the replacement to come in and stuff the paint as much as those guys do.
Yeah, I would lean towards the Pistons here. Not one I'm dying to bet. It's weird. I don't remember in past seasons where you get such light schedules on Thursday and Tuesday. I know Thursday is because they try to stay away from the NFL, but doesn't it seem like we get a bunch of random nights with only 2 or 3 games? I don't remember that in past years.
Yeah, I mean, what was it last Thursday? Wasn't there one game?
Yeah.
Yes, Pistons, Mavs, and the Pistons upset them.
Yeah, I mean, the Pistons they crushed these weird. Yeah, I don't know who's scheduling saying hey, we only have a few games tonight. We got to make sure the Pistons are on there.
Right.
It reminds me of the Broncos being on every primetime game. They're making sure the Pistons get their fill.
It was like that for the baseball show too. Every single Monday, it was the Reds playing every Monday.
Yeah, it was little Graham Ashcraft action.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think if there's anything in terms of futures that I got to give the books credit. They do a good job of keeping all these season win totals up. throughout the season. Obviously, player awards, conference division awards. Neither of these teams is really a factor here. I'm trying to see if they have any play-in odds. I don't see play-in odds at FanDuel. So I guess we could probably just move on unless you guys have anything else to add here.
I don't. Like I said, this is a game that I'm looking forward to watching the other two. I mean, there could be some hidden value if you wanted to go and dive into this game, but I saw that 8-player injury report for the Heat, and I just kind of wrote it off in my head.
There might be a little value if you want to look at hero assists. If Lowry ends up sitting or something, you could maybe get lucky with that.
And we are up to +6 here for the Lakers and the Cavs. So I don't know if it's because Brian picked them while he was wearing the glasses, but I can't rule that out.
Yeah. People probably saw the glasses and they heard me say I lean the Cavs, and
It'll probably hit 7 before we know it. Then
honestly, once once we post the link for like the rewatch of the show, it's gonna be like a 10-point spread. It's gonna be crazy.
It's like having the final score. It's like having tomorrow's newspaper. Mavs Nuggets. This is a fun game. Dallas is 12-11 straight up. They've been disappointing. 7-16 against the spread, so they are burning your money as bettors if you're backing them. Denver 14-9, 11 that's overall 11-12 against the spread. Feels like Denver can't get a run going. Every time they win a few games, they give away a bad game. They gave 40 points to Alvarado the other night, 38 points, which I didn't even know was possible. I still like Denver. I'm down on Dallas. I don't like that roster outside of Luka. I think that's really a bunch of role players. Denver is laying 5. They are home to Dallas. We know Denver's a tough place to play. Nick, start us off here. Nuggets and the Mavs.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I like the Nuggets to win this game. Like you said, it's Luka and the cast of characters there. Hardaway has just been shooting threes at Kelly Oubre volume right now. I mean, he's made some, but some games he has made 0. So it comes down to them if anyone's going to help Luka during the game, because you're going to get your standard Luka game pretty much every night. He's going to give you over 30 points. 6 or 7 rebounds, 7+ assists. So, but yeah, like you said, the Nuggets, man, they just haven't really hit their groove yet. They'll win a couple games and then, like you said, give a couple away. They haven't hit that patch yet. But I do have one play for this game. Luka over 1.5 steals, running that back again. Like I said before, he's not the greatest defender, but he somehow seems to get his hands on the ball. I don't know how, or it gets tipped to him, but Denver is in the top 10 for turnovers also, which kind of works in his favor. It's, I think, -115 on DraftKings. So I do have that one play for this game.
Professor Brian?
I mean, this is another one where I'm going to give it a look once lineups are out. The Mavs are one of those teams where, on a back-to-back, they kind of scare me because I've seen Luka in a back-to-back randomly get ruled out, or I see certain things with that team. So I'm going to wait for lineups, but I think Jokic has a really good scoring opportunity in this game. I did give his 24.5 a look, but Jokic has turned into a player that is hard to bet on. I mean, there's games where he takes 4 shots. I mean, there's legitimately a game this year where he took 4 shots.
Yeah.
I saw it against, over the weekend? He had 4 points in the first half, and then he scored 20 points in the second half. And I remember thinking, man, he has all the tools to do what he wants to do, but he's in this mode where, it's hard to kind of cap that if you're going to have a guy with his elite scoring ability that's totally okay attempting 2 shots and a half. So I'm probably laying off until I see a little bit more from him. But he is somebody I think has a great matchup in this one. Whether it's Defensive Player of the Year, JaVale McGee, or Dwight Powell, or Christian Wood, I just think none of them really match up to Jokic in this one.
What do you do if you're the Mavericks right now?
That's a great question. I was just going to ask something.
Give McGee more minutes.
I mean, because the roster you have is not going to do it.
No. I mean,
you don't really have much assets to move.
And Luka makes you too good to sink to the bottom. You're not good enough to win. I know they were in a Western Conference Finals last year, and that's kind of is going to lead into what I was going to ask you. Do we get to the point, maybe probably not this year because they were in a conference finals last year, do we get to the point a year from now, 2 years from now, where Luka's like, man, I can't waste my whole career without you guys giving me a sidekick? It's funny, Europeans are the players that don't usually ask for trades, usually the American guys that want out. So it's not usually the European guys, but I wonder if Luka gets to a point here where it's like, look, you guys got to do a better job. You got to get me out of here. I wonder if Luka ever feels like, you know what, it's just not working here.
I guess it's good. I guess Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton to the Mavericks, and we'll take him in Milwaukee. That works.
Yeah.
I don't
Play
know
with
if that,
Giannis.
No,
Yeah, I don't know what they do.
I mean, they're 500 in like a surprising way, and
Right.
like in the other way, I would watching them play some games, I would think they're below 500. Like
Right.
they're just not. I mean,
he
you
just
can go
drags them to
you
some
can go-
wins. Like Will said, he's too good for them to be bad.
it's a little hard in
Yeah.
Houston-ish where it's just everything revolves around
Right.
him. They just stand around and watch him. It just doesn't seem like conducive to actually winning. And we all probably underrated, maybe you guys didn't, but I probably underrated the loss of Brunson, where it's like, man, you lost your second best player and you replaced him with a bunch of guys and you matched the salaries, but you didn't replace his production. I don't know what you do.
I think not to play, the guy with the glasses here, but when they lost Brunson, I really did not like this team because, like I said, Brunson in the non-Luka minutes last year just did so much for this team.
Yes.
I mean, his offensive and defense efficiency rating was better than Luka, like for most of the year, which not mean he's a better player than Luka, but he just played the system well. He's such a good player overall that they just don't have that on their bench. They don't like. You have Reggie Bullock shooting 6%. Like they don't have like that X factor, and you have Luka, who is your X factor. But when you have one X factor, it's not a hard game plan, because there's something to be said about, because you mentioned James Harden. I compare this to the James Harden Rockets, where teams can game plan for that. And hey, cool, Luka dropped 40. We don't really care if the scoreboard has us up at the end of the day.
This is their salaries for guys right now. Dinwiddie's making $20 million, Hardaway 19.6, Wood 14.3, Finney Smith 12.4, Powell 11, Bullock 10, Kleber 9. And you're getting nothing out of that.
No, I'm wondering how long it takes them to start Christian Wood. I get the whole want him on the bench unit thing, but I think he looks better. I think too many times they start games off. Like, I don't know. They're just a team that's really interesting to watch.
Brian, as somebody with glasses, do you think Kemba Walker has anything left, or is this just a week past the point?
I'll eat my words here, but if you think Kemba Walker is the answer for the Dallas Mavericks, I don't have high hopes for that. I don't.
if Kemba Walker is the answer, you're asking the wrong question. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's like saying we talked about the Lakers earlier. Do you think Kemba Walker could fix the Lakers? I don't think so. I mean,
I guess and I agree with you. I guess the devil's advocate would be like, hey, we just need him to come off the bench for 10 minutes, handle the ball, make some shots, not get killed on defense. I don't know that I buy it, but I guess that's the
thinking.
That's the thinking, I guess. Nick, what do you think about Kemba? Does he give him anything at all, or no?
No.
Yeah.
Grasping for straws, I think.
Yeah. So
all the guys they keep adding to are like the same type of people. Like,
yeah.
It's funny. It wasn't that long ago where Kemba was like an all-star and like a good player on a good team in Boston. It's just, I don't know if he got hurt and he was never the same. I mean, he is older now. In point guards, they lose that quickness. They're not the same, and he's small. So, but it seems like he lost it quickly.
Yeah. I was gonna bring this to our attention. Someone asked if Lonnie can hit threes tonight, and they asked about Bogdanovich props. I will say, if you're betting anyone in that game, I mean, Bogdanovich has been so good without Cade, but he's the only guy I'd probably touch. I do think there's some love for Ivy in that game, but I don't know. I think Ivy's still young. He still has to kind of, settle in. I mean, Bogdanovich is basically, in my heart, he's a 4-time MVP with how well he's looked in some games. So I would look for him, but I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on Bogdanovich props or Lonnie Walker. Or
Nick,
I kind of like Lonnie Walker. I mean, his last game he was 4 for 4, 2 for 5. He's got a 3 for 5, 4 for 9, 4 for 5. I think his line's 1.5, but it's kind of juiced. I think for sure 2. I'm not opposed to 3. I think he's probably going to get a lot of open looks with the focus being on Davis and LeBron. So he'll probably get 5 to 6 3-point shots and probably fairly open. So that's not a bad look there.
Before we get to the odds and the betting aspect of it, your life is on the line. The winner of the Western Conference is who? Nick, you can start.
Oh, jeez. The winner of the
That's the right
Western
answer.
The winner coming out of the winner of the West. Life depends on it. Forget
You're
the betting
talking
odds.
winner of the regular season West, or
No,
like
whoever
who's
going to the finals out of the West.
Oh, I was going to say the Suns, but that changed my mind. Man, it is the Wild West this year. That's what.
Yeah, there's about 4 or 5 different answers where I wouldn't, really.
And you can't say the Jazz. You can't use the Jazz.
All right, you can think it over. Brian, who do you have? Life on the line. Who comes out of the West?
Yeah.
That's my answer.
We're live, by the way. People are watching.
I'm going Denver. I'm going Denver.
Okay, I like that. Wow, I like that.
I can see Denver. I will say, part of me wants to believe in the Phoenix Suns only because we've seen them have these horrible collapses 2 years in a row. And I know I root for the Suns just because I watch a lot of Suns, but like this, I'm not a fan of the Suns by any means. I'm from Philly, but there's just something to be. It's a rare situation where the Suns have gone through adversity with the same group. That doesn't happen often, especially in the NBA.
They didn't tank to get good. Like they had the number 1 pick in 8, but it's been sort of a generic, like organic rise here where they had Paul. Like, remember they had that bubble where they went like 8-0, 9-0, almost went to the play-ins. Like, why were they even in the bubble? And they sort of built off that. I thought about saying the Suns. I might, if you could talk me into the Suns, I would probably say the Warriors, but I wouldn't feel great about it. Who did you end up going with? Do you think the Suns, Brian?
I'll go Suns. I was gonna say I wanted to go Warriors, but I didn't want to be a square. Like not like that. Not saying you're a square, but you know what I mean.
No, this is life on the line. This is life on the line. Who you actually think? Like if you gave you truth serum, who
I'll go.
Actually believe in.
My wild card is gonna be the Grizzlies, but I'll life on the line. I'll go Suns. I'll give them a chance to, as long as they avoid their kryptonite in the Mavericks for some weird ass reason they can't play against the Mavericks. I just think, if they get Cam Johnson healthy, they get some other guys healthy, they finally move Jay Crowder, which is beyond me. I don't know why Jay Crowder is still on that roster, just doing nothing. But if they can get a piece for Jay Crowder, I think this is a team that could do it. But yeah, they've choked 2 years in a row. But if my life's on the line, I'll go with the favorite.
I think the problem with moving Jay Crowder is they're a winning team. You want a player who does the things Jay Crowder does. And it's like, if a team has that guy, why are they going to trade him for Jay Crowder? It's almost like, hey, dude, just play. Like, you're not that good to be sitting out demanding a trade. We're not going to get like a useful player for you. A pick doesn't really do us any good trying to win a championship. So interesting.
He's just done. He's done with them. Yeah, he's done with them. Though he hates LeBron. Enough.
Like these guys. I mean, it's not like you're, Durant or somebody where you can force your way out. You're like, you're Jay Crowder. You're nice, like, role player. But I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Don't look now, but the Kings are 2 games out. So
Kings are fun.
Yeah, life on the line. You're going with the Kings. So Nick's dead. So in a few months, this will be a 2-man show.
Yeah, we can I mean, it's a Tuesday spot. We can get McAfee or somebody.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if you're trusting the Kings on your, I do like the Nuggets pick. I do think the Nuggets look good, but once again, they become one of those teams where you talk with the Lakers.
Trust their defense.
Yeah, their defense. It's not like I said with the Cavs, like defense wins championships. The Nuggets, their numbers, don't look at them, guys. Like if you're watching, don't look. They're bad. Like I mean, for someone as good as metric wise as Jokic on the defense, it's crazy how bad they are on defense. Like the entire team is just. They can't get like. Do you trust them to get a stop in a playoff series in a close fourth quarter back and forth?
No, and they're basically like a G League team. When Jokic sits out or God forbid misses a few games, they're just I don't know. But I don't know who else you pick. How about from a betting perspective? Odds to win the West: Suns plus 320, Warriors plus 330, Clippers plus 440, Nuggets 6-1, Grizzlies plus 850, Dallas 12-1. Pelicans 13-1. That's an interesting sleeper. I'd probably want a little more than 13-1. Then you get Blazers 32-1, Minnesota 36-1. That's just we've talked about. It's the worst trade ever. Then you get Lakers 39-1. I guess the fact that AD's playing so well and maybe you get a trade is built in there. That's why they are above. The Kings at 65-1 to win the West. anything that you would make an actual wager on, Nick? I guess the Nuggets, if you like them at 6-1. Is that enough for you?
I like the Pelicans too.
Yeah, I'd want a little more. I like them directionally. I like them.
Right.
And they've played well, and those guys never even play. They never get Ingram, McCollum, and Zion.
No one's ever playing at the same time on that team.
I will say this version of the NBA's Big Three is really a rotating Big Two. I mean, that's what it is now. I mean, you saw it with the Nets, you saw it with some other teams. You can have a Big Three, but they don't play together. I mean,
I think the Big Three of Kyrie, Durant, and Harden played something like 40 game minutes together, something insane.
It's like it looks like one of those fake.
It couldn't
stats.
have been that low because they played in the playoffs together, but it was something where maybe it was like 6 games. It was
it's one of those stats where you think that it's like a fake, like the Ball Sack Sport account posted it because it just is so low.
Or John Heyman or something like that.
Yeah, the parody accounts. Yeah. If I'm going value, I'll probably go plus 10,000 on the Utah Jazz.
Okay.
Not bad.
Stockton them alone.
Yeah.
Anything you guys would make an actual bet on or no? It's funny, none of us have even brought up the Clippers. I think we're all just sort of over the Clippers.
I'm over the Clippers.
Yeah.
They almost lost to the Hornets yesterday, and they had everyone in. I'm done with them. They could make me eat my words, but for them to be the preseason favorite and still a heavy favorite in certain
every year.
rounds.
It's like the Nets. It's like the Nets were. It's like, well, when they get their guys, it's like at some point you got to show me you can have your guys. And I'm a huge
Kawhi fan. But you gotta be playing, and I can't do it that. But I will say I mentioned my sleeper. I would go I'm seeing 9-1 on MGM for the Grizzlies. I would take a bet on that. I mean,
is that enough for you to tie up your money from now until June though?
I would say this. I would do it in a way where if I risk, say, like a quarter unit to win a unit, I could see myself doing something like that because, the Grizzlies have a good team. They're a team that I think they're built well. They're young, and that's the biggest thing is they're just young. They don't have the experience, to really, to go all the way. But they did get some playoff experience last year. They gave the Warriors a little bit of a scare there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a team where they have the star power, and I think they play overall good basketball to have a chance.
I think I would just defer to Golden State because, when you get in a series, it's like Curry's going to be the best player on the court most of those series. They probably have a trade they can make. Now, what you want to get for Wiseman and Moody and Kuminga, do you want to trade those chips in and, get whoever your guy is? That's a team that could make a trade. And then, their problem is mostly their bench. The bench shortens in the playoffs. So I guess I'd still defer to Golden State, but nothing I'm really dying to bet in this market. But it's fascinating. It should make for a fun playoff because there's really not a dominant team.
Yeah. No, I agree. And also, if you really want to go value, you said the Blazers are 32-1.
Yeah.
But the Blazers are a team that, I guess, they do have 4 really good players. They can run out there.
Dame's always hurt too, though.
I don't trust. Fun to watch.
Yeah, they're fun. I like Sharp too. I don't know that Dame can stay healthy too. Now
I'm just saying from a pure value perspective, if you want to see a team with the superstar and a good supporting cast / a good defense, you could take a flyer on the Trailblazers, who have looked really good in some games.
If they were a bad team, that would be a real interesting
Wembanyama.
Yeah, especially with they could have a really good young core. They trade Dame and get a bunch of picks.
Right.
And maybe a young guy, and then you have Simons, who's really coming.
Yeah, but Dame kind of made it clear that he wants to die there. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Him and Bradley Beal crack me up because they keep saying they want to compete, and then they keep signing with shitty teams. So it's like like Bradley Beal made that big thing. Bradley Beal made that big statement in the press conference saying he wants to compete and win a ring, and then a month later he signed a big deal with the Wizards, and everyone was like, "All right, dude, I don't know."
Better hope he's on Team USA if he wants to win anything. He ain't doing it in Washington.
In some ways, it's smart because you get the most money for staying with your team, and then you can always just ask for a trade 10 minutes later. But it doesn't seem like these guys are wired that way, especially Dame, which in some ways I respect. Hey, this is my team. I want to try to win here. These guys, they can't, you get called a sellout if you go to a big team, but at the same time, you're probably not going to win there. So it's interesting. I don't know. Long story short, I don't know that there's a bet to be made at these numbers. Seems like everything's about right. The Pelicans is interesting. Denver's interesting, but nothing. Again, if you're making this bet, you're not cashing it till June. I'm not in love with any of these prices.
And if you trust half these teams, you're probably not cashing it at all. So,
right. If you gave me a little more, I would maybe take a shot at the Lakers, but thinking, hey, they can make a trade. With the way Davis and LeBron are playing, you can get to a Western Conference Finals and then hedge. But 39-1 probably seems like a stretch for them to get to a conference finals, I would think.
I agree with everything you said, which is interesting. I never really agree with anything you say. Yes.
Right. All right. I think we pretty much covered it. Anything else you guys want to recap your best bets?
I'll let Nick go first. He
got Luka over 1.5 steals in the late game, and then we have Davis double. He can have 25 and 25 and 13. We're good.
Yeah, I mean, he can have 27 and 13. He's 27 and 12. Let's go there.
27 and 12. All right. And the Lakers to win.
Let's prefer he just stops at 10 and 10. Just
everyone to win though.
Okay, yeah, but like they can win with LeBron's 80 piece. All right.
Okay. He's gonna need it.
Yeah. The only bet I had today is I'm taking Anthony Davis under 27.5 points and under 39.5 PR. I mean, the lines have moved in my favor on these. Jared Allen playing is big. This is one where I'll probably get a lot of hate if he flies over again, but I just think they're a little inflated given the matchup. So definitely a spot I like. And then I might have a play in the late game, but I'm not touching the Heat in their resting mode.
All right. I think that pretty much covers it. Thank you guys. Thank you to Props.Cash, Pickett Sports, Goal Boys. We will be back Thursday breaking down NBA, NFL, a little bit of a hybrid show. So retweet the show. Tell your friends. Nick, Brian, this was fun as always. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely.